just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old every single day without exception. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. Do you know what? I found us a bit nippy today, hence the pullover on. I had to put us on. I was bloody freezing. Not freezing, but you know, nippy. If there's such words as nippy. I've got the paranormal fella on at last. I know this paranormal fella. And he said to me, he said one day, do you and Jason want to go into a building tonight? And I said, yeah, all right. The sorriest thing I ever done. And I said, I'm off. I'm going. I said that. And Jamie said to me, what are you going for? But he was dead genuine, He was dead genuine when he said there was a big group of people. There was myself, there was Jason, and the photographer. I brought a photographer along, Paul Frost. And so we just went upstairs, and a lady that Jamie knew. A lady came up with us, But what he said to us upstairs, he told the group to, you stay there, I'll be back. And what he said to us, what was going to happen, when the group came up and going into these bloody rooms, came true. And I'll give you an example of why he's dead genuine. There was a terrible bang, like a big racket. Big racket, just did that, and it went right around the building. And we all went, oh, as you do. And he said, don't be worrying. Don't be worrying. He said, that could be a bit of wind rattling us or hitting some metal, letterbox or whatever. And I thought afterwards, and we all calmed down then. And I thought afterwards, do you know what? He could have just been saying that. Because he see, frightened me all. We all went, oh. That's what I said. I'm going. I'm off. And Jason stayed till that. I think it's at 3 o'clock in the morning or something. But anyway, I've got him. I'll bring him on in a few minutes' time. After I had these lads, Gap Patent Services, the Frank Carlyle sponsors they sponsor every podcast I do, every single one. Please don't struggle trying to decorate and moving furniture and everything, to try and paint or wallpaper or anything. I know how difficult it is, then putting it back, and just get these lads in. Just let them do it. Especially if you're an NHS worker and elderly couples. You can't be struggling. Say like an NHS worker coming home from different shifts, trying to decorate your place. Get them in because you get a special discount. And so does the elderly people. They get special discounts. So get these lads in, fully time served, they're fully insured, and as I said, you get a special discount, even if you don't fit into those categories. They're dead reasonable. Just bring them along and just say, listen, can you give us a price? This is what I want to do. And they're dead reasonable. And that's without obligation. Just let them come in, have a look, see what needs to be done, and let them do it. Don't struggle, as I said. And that's Gap Painting Services, sponsors of the Frank Carlyle pods. All the pods. And on that lovely note, I'll just read out some comments. The lovely Myra. Hi Frank and friends. Hiya Myra. 8 bigots. All of the darkness can't take out candle of light. No. We live in the light, don't we? That's what we want. And he'll tell you more about it anyway. But in the next hour, I'm having Jamie on for the first hour, as I said. And in the next hour, I'll be talking about this Charlie Kirk fella. I'll be talking about Venezuela. I'll be talking about the American war machine that just keeps going on and on and on without stopping. So I'll be talking about them. I'll be talking about Zelensky as well. He's in panic mode. And Edward says, hello, Frank and Jamie. Daryl, Frankie. Baby. Gone mad. And Steve Mulholland, my old mate, love the spooky background. It is, do you know what? I've never noticed it. It's Jason trying to frighten me. And Jamie. Oh, jeez. Johan. Good evening, Frank and Legends. Hope everyone's well. Spooky background, Frank. All right, you don't have to remind me. Spooky background. I have to go to bed on my own, you know. Ambidextrous. Hi, Chatters and Frank. Really looking forward to this one tonight. Oh. Thanks, Ambi. That background looks scary, says Scary Frankenstein. Thanks very much. Frank, it looks like Hocus Pocus reborn. And Toscana. Ciao Franco and everyone. This looks like it's going to be an interesting evening. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Toscana. I'll be sending you a message tomorrow. Either tonight or tomorrow. And Vitali, you didn't think I'm going to show Jamie his name there, and he doesn't think I can speak Russian. And his name's Vitali. Hi, Frank and chat. All right, Vitali. And rest in peace, says Daryl. Rest in peace, Charlie. Why they put the video on? It's disgusting behaviour. And Freedom Journey. Greetings, Frank and Chatters. And on that wonderful note, from the Freedom Journey, I'm going to bring in my special guest, the frightening man himself. And there he is, Jamie Williams. Hello,
Frank.
Jamie.
Hi, Frank. You okay?
Long time no see.
I know. I'll have to come and see you. I'll have to meet up with you.
That's what you said the last time.
A lot's happened in that time, Frank.
Yeah. Can you turn your volume up? I can't hardly hear you.
Me volume up? Is it really low? Yeah. Hold on. How's that?
That's
Still
all
the
right.
same? Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah, Jamie, have you written a book?
I have. It took me a year to do, Frank, but I finally done it. All about the ghosts of Mill Street Barracks. You'd love it.
Was I now? Don't offer me a copy, please.
Do you want a copy?
I'm only into Charles Dickens and the Bronte sisters. Listen, have you got a copy there? Can you show?
Yeah. There's a copy of it there.
Wow.
I don't know whether it's the right way round for you or not. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, look at that.
The picture's come
Because
up
Jason
now.
put that up, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
That's
Thanks,
scary,
Jason.
though.
Yeah, that's the one.
That looks
Yeah,
scary,
it's
though.
do you know what, Frank? I'm really pleased because it's actually selling really well. I'm really happy.
And how can you get it?
It's on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and put in Jamie Michael Williams or The Ghost of Mill Street Barracks, it's on there, both on hardback and on paperback. It's £10 for the paperback and $15 for the hardback. I tried to do it as cheap as I possibly could so people can, are able to get it, because I don't like it when they're like £15-20. So I just, as long as people enjoy, that's all that matters to me.
Well, I remember you, after that excursion into town, that time, into that building.
The Lomax.
You invited us down to that Mill Street Barracks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I refused. You said, come on, you'll be all right. No, it's what people expect. You're a paranormal investigator. And you do debunk things as well. That's the beauty of you.
Yeah,
you do debunk things.
As much as I possibly can.
Can you talk about any of the debunking episodes, through your paranormal activity? When people have said, "Oh, look at this," and what? Can you explain a couple?
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring up the Mill Street Barracks one now, because it was we were in there one night and we could hear this it's like a growling sound, but it sounded echoey. That's got to be paranormal. It's okay. It's got to be paranormal and that. And I said, I don't know, And that night we couldn't work it out, but I went back in again because, I'm a key holder then. I went back in with my mate and we could hear this sound. So we started following the sound and we found out there's a drain which goes back to the 1800s and it's quite high up. And when it rains, the sound makes it's like a really strange sound, and that's what it was. So it wasn't paranormal. So when we next met up, I said the sound we're getting is the grid. It's the old grid in the distance, and we actually recorded it to show people, let people listen to it and say that's the noise. We've had it where the door's been rattling. We found out that there's been a window upstairs open, and the wind's been coming through and just rattling the door. But when you're calling out and you hear the door rattling, you automatically putting it together. And it's only when we start looking around, we go, there's a window open at the very top. They must have left the window open. So we've done that. Lights, what we thought were coming on, we found out they were on a timer. So it's just a matter of trying to look sensibly before you do anything, because not everything's paranormal. It can happen to anyone.
When people invite you down and you debunk these stories,
yeah.
Do they say anything to you? Do they, are they upset or?
No, I think most of them are quite happy that we've debunked it, because sometimes they're living in the house, aren't they? And when you debunk it, it's a relief to them. No, they're absolutely fine, because we're being fair with them. We could literally say, "Oh, look, it's haunted. Can we come back?" But we don't. We always say, "This is where the noise is coming from." And if we can't find out where the noise has come from, then we would say, "Can we come back? Because we need a little bit longer." And sometimes we've gone back and we've not been able to debunk it, but sometimes we've gone back and said, we know what it is now. You know, because you get used to the noise of the houses then. We've actually caught people, you know, cheating and making the noises, and we've debunked it that way as well. We've turned around and said, right, this is who it is, or that's... And I won't... sometimes I'm diplomatic and I'll say, someone's tapping in here, we know what it is. And sometimes I'll just say, why are you tapping? You know, I'll be straightforward, because it's not fair on other people who are there wanting to have the paranormal experience, and somebody's like tapping away and making it happen.
Do people, I know that you bring people around these mad places, I call them. Do they just go to be scared, or for the fun of it, or is it curiousness? What category do most people go for? Is it like curiousness? Is it to be frightened? Or is it to be anything else?
I think it's a mixture of all of them, Frank, but I think most people like to go to experience something. Even when they're frightened, they want to experience it. They've seen it on the TV, they've listened to it on the radio, and so they want that personal experience. And some people, some people when they're there are very, very skeptic. We've had a lot of people who are skeptic, and then when something happens, they come back and go, can't believe that happened, and I can't explain it. Like my son Ian, he's been with us, and I'll refer back to Mill Street now, because that's where I'm quite regular there. And he came down, we were filming a podcast, and we could hear a dog panting, and it was a clear dog panting, but there was no dog in the building, but we do know that there's a ghost dog there. And he tried to debunk it, he tried everything to, you know, he was listening to it, and even to this day, now that's say 2 years ago now, and he still to this day says, I can't fathom it out, I can't work it out. He said, I can't get it. And even there was 4 of us in there, I think it was, on that night, and we all heard it, and we heard it under the table, we heard it behind us, and it was like it was walking around. And then one person actually panicked, and he went, oh Christ, he said, something's just brushed against my leg. So a dog would brush against your leg, wouldn't he? And it was under the table, the panting, and that's when he felt the brush against his leg. And even to this day, we can't wake it up. We actually recorded the panting. We've actually got the recording of it.
Do you know what? You'd never think that, spirits of animals. You've surprised me there.
Yeah.
About, this particular dog and barking and brushing past someone's leg. You'd never think that. Well, I wouldn't anyway. It's like, it reminds me of a poem, and it's about a dog it's about an owner that died, and the dog just went to the cemetery, and it just lay there. I forget the poem actually, and it just lay there every single day.
Yeah.
And then they went for it. It ends up by saying, then, I forget the dog's name, it has a name, like Polly or something, and Polly wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then when they went the next time to put flowers on the grave, they heard the dog, albeit that it wasn't there.
Well,
They reckon that, like when it has a synopsis on it, that is actually dug down into the ground,
right.
and that the earth just covers, and it's just lying with the owner,
Wow.
It's a very sad poem. I forget what it was called, but that I forget if I wrote it actually. But it's what it made you a poet, so that's just reminded me of that.
Well, I've got a picture, Frank, of the
what's
dogs.
the most frightening? Can you tell the audience here?
Yeah.
What's the most frighteningest thing that you've experienced? I know that you're not scared of anything. I've seen you in the way you are,
Yeah.
And but you must have been frightened at one time at a certain, thing, but experience. Can you?
Oh Christ, yeah.
If you want, can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, but I've had a few of them, but again, I'm going to refer back because I'm a regular in Mill Street Barracks. I've done 600 on investigations there, and there was one night I used to do the podcasting from there, Frank, and we got this fella on the phone. Said, listen, we'll do an interview. It'd be 2 hours, like, you know, just having a full conversation for 2 hours. And he was up for it because we could talk about his experiences, etc., etc. And when I was in there, I was in the little podcasting studio I had in there, and he was at home, and I was in the building on my own, and fine, I was okay. I'd set up and everything, contacted him, and then we started the show, and within 10, 15 minutes of the show, the door of the studio opened up on its own. We could hear voices in the main hall, and I thought somebody had come into the building, one of the staff. So while I was talking live, well, not live, pre-recording the show we were, sorry. While I was talking, I went out onto the balcony to check nobody come into the building to say I'm recording, you know. There's not a single person in there. And for the 2 hours I had the room, I'd never believed in, you know, in movies they show you the room and it goes so cold you can see your breath. Well, that happened to me. And it's the first time I've ever had that happen to me. I heard knocking. I had somebody walk past the window. And everything, what I've never experienced so much in one night. And it was just, I was starting to get quite nervous at the time. Anyway, I said to Sean, who was on the phone to him, and I said, look, you know, can I go home and we'll record the rest of this from home, you know, like I'm doing now with you, I'm talking to you. And he went, no, you're a paranormal investigator, carry on. He said, you've only got another so long to go. And I went, oh, for God's sake, you know. So I stayed and we carried on. And again, the door opened again. We could hear walking on the main hall, what was outside, and then on the balcony. I had like a camouflage on the window. So sometimes when we were in there recording, paranormal groups would be in. So the camouflage hid us, you know, while we were in there. And the camouflage on the window started to sway as if someone was walking past it. And by the end of the show, I'd finished. And I'll answer that one in a minute, Edward. I finished, and I get to the car, turned everything off. I was out the building as quickly as I could. I was a bit scared on that night, Frank. Get to the car and forgot my phone. I'd left my phone in the studio, so I had to go back into the studio, get my phone, and I'm going in and going, it's only me, I'm only coming for my phone, I won't disturb you anymore. Get to my phone, and I'm walking back down, I get in the car, and I thought, why didn't I turn the lights on? You know, it was pitch black, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I could have easily turned the lights on, gone and got my phone and not worried, but I didn't. And that was my frightening one, Frank. Somebody's asked there, Frank, are spirits in a different dimension? I'd say so, yeah, I certainly do. My belief in spirits is like, I think the different dimensions are, you know, like in our world, we've got ancestors who've passed on now and have gone to another world. And I think if everybody was in the same dimension, it'd be overcrowded. We'd have so many experiences. I think it'd be overwhelming. And I think what it happens is like in our world, we have, you know, we can go back on our family tree, going back to the 1800s and things like that. And if you think about that, they passed on before, my mum and dad passed on before I would, you know, well, I'm still here, but before I pass on. And I think the different levels there is when I pass on, and this is only my belief, is I believe that, you know, I'll meet up with my parents again and anybody who's passed away in my time, you know, and now who I've met through the years, family-wise. And I think by the time I move across, I may cross over to the point where I'll meet, like my granddad who passed away, and I think they move on to another plane later on, like it is in life. Because if we all stayed on this in this dimension, the world would be overcrowded. So I think we move on, like my mum and dad have moved on to the other plane now, and then one day I'll be on that plane with them again, and then they'll move on to another plane. So I think it's like that. I think it's like different levels. If I've explained that okay for you, Edward, sorry, I hope that's okay.
Do you know what, Jamie? I remember listening to Dr. Patrick Moore, and he was saying about, you know, if you're on Sirius, and he had a telescope powerful enough to look at Earth. And he said they'd be able to see. He was talking about distance and time and whatever. He said they'd be able to see the Roman invasion of Britannia, the Claudian invasion. I'll never forget what he said. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. Now, then I thought about my grandmother. I was living with my grandmother at one point. And the Uncle Jerry died on his way back from Spain, you know, on a holiday. He went on holiday. So the lady I didn't know, the lady next door came and she knocked and she said, Francis, she said, can I talk to you? You know, I said, yeah, what's up? And she told me, she said, don't tell your grandmother. I said, no, okay. I said, what can I do? I was only a young man. I said, what can we do? What can I do? She said, we'll go for the priest. And we went along for the priest. Because it was only along the road, you know, in our parish. And we brought him back, Jamie. And he said, it's okay, you know. So we went into my grandmother's room. And he said, hello, Mrs. Valenti. And she said, hello. And he said, I've come to tell you. She said, I know about Jerry. He's died. And he looked. And he said, how do you know? And she said, he told me. Now, that's not only the only occurrence she had. Now, I was in the next bedroom to her. And she used to be talking. I thought she was going out of her mind. But she was talking to, like, people who'd been dead years. Her friends. Her friends.
Well, you see that in hospitals.
And she said she was talking to them. So, you know, it was the way, like, my Uncle Jerry had died. And she knew. No one had told her. Nobody.
It's very...
You see what I mean? So, and then I thought, it's like, after what you're talking about, like, and it's what Edward says, the spirit in a different dimension. I always believed in three-dimensional lives, three dimensions, you know, a past, a present and a future. And we live it.
Yeah.
That's what I think,
mean,
anyway.
You hear it, Frank, all the time about hospitals, you know, when people are sadly on the last, you know, the coming to the end of life. And I believe that they do see people, you know, people are coming to take them over. You hear it so many times. It's on YouTube all the time. You know, I watch things like that on YouTube, and I believe that, you know, when we're born, there's always someone in the room to greet us, isn't there? So when we pass, I always think there's someone there to take us over, to teach us the next dimension.
Well, Toscana says, do you have a podcast?
Yeah, I have one. They're on YouTube. One's called Access Paranormal Podcast, and the other one is called Access Paranormal Radio.
We'll put the description up. Jason will put the description up.
No problem, yeah.
Can I show a few pictures?
Yeah, if you want.
Please.
Yeah. Now that's Bruce, and that's the cat. We don't know the cat's name, but that's Bruce in the background there, the black Labrador. And the black Labrador's only got 3 legs, and he's the one what's been is always around. The cat has been around, but not as much as the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Them images are from my book. Oh, yep. I think you're on one of these, Frank, if he goes through them okay.
Am I?
Yeah. I'm sure you are.
Does he have black hair then?
Oh, I don't think they go back that far.
You don't go back to the pyramids, eh? You swine. Thanks very much. You don't go back that far.
But no, they're all the images what Jason's putting up now are from the
yeah.
book itself. You know, I had to put different ones on. I can't believe the one on the top right there, Frank, when it was COVID.
COVID, yeah.
I didn't even have my
There you
haircut
are
then.
doing your podcast up there.
Yeah, I love doing that. I've got to get you on it, yeah, Frank. I've got to get you on it.
Where, who's the girl there, Marie? Have I seen
That's
her?
my partner. That's my partner, Marie.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Have I seen her?
Yeah. She's the one on the right.
I hope she's not listening.
Nope. No. I'm just having a look who these are now. Well, you know the ones on the top left, Jane and Liz, and obviously me. Liz in the middle. Sadly, she passed away just over a year ago.
Did she?
She did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, it was one of those sad times, really sad times.
She was a lovely girl. But she came up with us, didn't when I went down to that building.
She was lovely.
And she was one of the guides and going around with us.
Yeah, we still miss her. She's lovely, Liz.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Lovely lady.
I'm just trying to look who's
and
on
is
the
this the
pictures now.
team, is it? The Ghost Quest. Is
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
team? Marie,
Well,
Stephen,
yeah.
Lee Baines, and yourself, and Jane Basnett and John Jagger.
Yeah. They're all us in the team. Sadly, we're not Ghost Quest anymore. We're now Access Paranormal because there's another group out there called Ghost Quest. So, because I do the Access Paranormal radio stuff, I decided we just change the whole name to that instead.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. But there you are, Frank. There's Frank, Jason, and Jake and me when we were in our house.
Jake Abraham, yeah. And Jason.
Yeah, that was when we were in our house when I was in the other house.
That's right.
Frank.
Went up there, didn't we?
Yeah.
And did a broadcast.
Yeah. So you're in the book.
I'm in the book.
Yep. I bet you want a copy now, don't you?
That frightens me. No, that picture frightens me. No, poor Jake, he passed on as well.
Yeah, that was sad. That he was a nice lad. I liked Jake as well.
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah.
When we came out of there, he said, "I'm not going back there again." He was like me.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? What happened in St. George's Hall? I don't know whether we told you that night. I just don't. I forget.
I remember it.
I was given a talk, and I was in the criminal court. They wanted me to talk about people, criminals up for murder and people getting hanged. And I was talking about this particular fella, this, accused. And the next, I'm talking to them, and I see Jake, walking into me from me right, and into where all the people were sitting. And when he sat down, he was sitting on his own, he was well away, not well away, but he was, fair enough apart from the main group of people who were sitting there. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the corner of my eye, and he was like sitting like this, and then he went, and he looked around, and he looked again, and he looked behind him. So I thought someone was behind him, if you know what I mean, that you couldn't see, someone was walking. And then you see him sitting there, and the next, he jumped, just like that. He jumped, and he was looking at it. And afterwards I said to him, "What was you jumping all about there for?" He said, "Someone was behind me." He said, "Somebody was behind me." He said, "I felt a presence." And he said, "Did you see me jump?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Someone blew in my ear."
All right.
That's what he said. G. Poor G.
Yeah, it was sad that. Because he was actually going to come to Mill Street Barracks with me as well. He was going to come down and do an invest with us as well. Well, sadly he passed away, didn't he? Which was sad.
You know what? You're not half fading from me, you know. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the volume right up here
Yeah.
on my speaker. Got a
I know my
speaker here.
mic's right up, Frank. I've just turned the
Speaker.
volume to. Yeah.
I just can't hear it. Don't know if something's wrong with me speaker, to be honest.
The photographs there, the top one is, I don't know whether anybody watches it, Unsolved Mysteries. He came down to the barracks and done some filming, and I was actually in the documentary about it because of what happened there.
Oh, right.
So I've still not watched it. I still haven't watched it. The one on the right is a great friend of mine, John Kennedy. Been knowing him for 20 odd 30 years now. The right hand side, Adam Marks and that, they're urban explorers. I've done a great interview with them, so I added them into the book as well. And you know Roy Basnett, don't you?
Yeah, I know, though.
James
Yeah.
Yost. So that's Roy at the bottom there, and he actually took over the Access Paranormal Radio in the studio and interviewed me, which was quite funny. You know, to have that reverse, that was brilliant. That I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, you know, like when you're going about, obviously
Yeah.
you get requests, don't you?
Yeah.
You get requests to go, where's the furthest further afield, the further afield you've been, the furthest?
Yeah, I've been to the Ancient Ram Inn down in Gloucestershire. We've been to a cottage in Wiltshire, which I'm going to again. Well, I'm going to Wiltshire, but I'm not going to cottage. They were the ones which I've done the furthest, and I really enjoyed. The Ancient Ram Inn was phenomenal. If you've never seen it, look it up. Loads of people go there. All the big companies have been there, you know, off the TV and that, they've all been there. Yeah, they're the ones I've been to, Frank, the likes of that one. The other way, I've been up to Berwick upon Tweed and done some investigations there. There's a fort.
It's the
12th
Scottish
century
borders,
fort.
that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Berwick
yeah,
upon
I've been
Tweed.
there. Yeah, done there. Been down into South Wales, done down south, Newquay in South Wales, not Newquay in Cornwall, but Newquay in South Wales. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I love that place.
Do you
try and
ever
get
get
around.
or someone talking about Hadrian's Wall?
Never.
And, you know, there's paranormal activity there. I was reading something once.
Well, I've always wanted to do the full length of Hadrian's Wall. And a while back we were talking about going up there and actually doing a paranormal investigation from Hadrian's Wall, you know, just staying there for the night and actually doing call-outs and everything else. But you've got to get it at the right time, haven't you, with the weather because of where it is.
Oh, yeah,
But
go in the
it'd be-
summer, Jamie, don't go in the winter.
Oh, God. Oh, I wouldn't go in the winter, but definitely want to do the Hadrian's Wall. There's loads of we've got a list of places we want to go to, you know, distance. It's getting the time to put them all in. We just try and do what we can.
Yeah, of course. Have you ever, I don't know whether you've been here, and I know that you've heard of it, some pub down in Kent, is it? It's one of the home counties, where in the cellar, you know, people have seen Romans going, you know, along.
There's one of them in York.
Really?
Yeah. There's one in York. I can't remember the name of the building, but there was a fella in the down in the cellar part, and he's seen the whole Roman army started marching through the actual building itself, but he could only see them halfway up the leg, you know, from say the knees or a little bit higher than them. And he said the horses, the Romans, but that could have been a thing called it's video. It's like a video, you know, of it. And he said when they look back into it, there was a Roman road lower down. It wasn't the original floor where he was standing. It was lower down, but he said the whole army come through, like, you know, marching through as if they were like there. So, yeah. Now that's me when I was on Paranormal Lockdown TV. I don't I've seen that one. The other one's
So
Most
you've met
Haunted.
Katrina Weidman.
I'm actually friends with her. Yeah.
Oh, good way.
Yeah, she's been on the show. I've interviewed her. She's a lovely person.
And
Yeah,
Nick
I've got
Gruff,
on well.
yeah.
Yeah. I was with them every day when they were there. So I loved them too. They were fantastic. Bottom
What
one
did
on
they
the
think
bottom
of
left.
Mill Street?
They loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Did they?
Yeah. I mean, Nick stayed in he slept in the cellar, and Katrina slept in the main hall. On their own.
Yeah.
And I had to come back each day to make sure everything was okay, because obviously, with them being in the building, they actually stayed in Mill Street for, I think it was 3 nights in a row. They actually
So
stayed
you
in the
still
building.
do tours, yeah?
Yeah, we're actually planning. We don't do the ghost hunts with all the public anymore. And
No.
there's plenty of ghost groups out there who are doing it anyway. But we do, if anybody wants to do a tour of the building, we're looking at it now as doing it on a basis where people can book it. We're just looking at that now with Mill Street, and then I'll take them on a walk about and tell them the stories from the rooms and things like that. Probably be about 45 minutes to an hour walking around, telling them the experiences.
It just shows you, doesn't it, the likes of the way people get involved and want to get involved.
It's big. Yeah.
Paranormal to me, as you know, it's not my scene. It really isn't. Let's go through a couple of these. And as Toscana says, do you have a podcast? We'll put the description up of your podcast. Don't be worrying about that. And Freedom Journey says, Frank, that sounds similar. What you were talking about, the dog. To the dog called Greyfriars Bobby in Edinburgh. There is a statue of him.
I've heard of that one. I've never been to Edinburgh to do up there. That's where one place I want to go to, because I want to go to the catacombs there. Yeah, it's a very similar story to what he was just mentioned then.
Scottish Bear says, hey, Frank and Jamie, and chat.
Hello, Scottish Bear. Right? Must be Scottish.
The bear. It's the Scottish Bear. And as Edward says, there's people who are mediums and can see spirits. Do you believe in that, Jamie?
I'm on the wall with it, to be honest with you, because I don't know whether you remember, Frank, years and years and years ago, getting hold of a medium was like getting hold of gold dust. It was just, they were there. Nowadays, since it's all become like a huge thing now, the paranormal with the TV and everything else, there's mediums on every corner, and sadly there are charlatans out there, but there are some who I believe are genuine, but it's trying to pick them out from the non-mediums, and that's no disrespect to any medium at all, because they may, they probably believe they are mediums, and maybe they will be, but in my opinion, I don't think there's as many mediums as they make out to be. I think there's a lot out there who jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And that's being honest,
That's why I think you're so respected. And I mentioned it before, because you respect people and you do debunk, other things.
Yeah.
And, rather than really lambast into, charlatans, as you said, you just say,
100%.
You're not polite, which is great, to be honest.
I've met plenty of the charlatans. Yeah, sorry, Frank. I've met plenty of charlatans, but I wouldn't tell them.
No,
that's down to the public themselves. If they,
I think that's lovely what you've just said. Rather than tell them,
if they make somebody happy and feel at rest with somebody who's passed away, and that person's happy, and it's made them feel better, who am I to criticise that? Because we all look for that to relief of pain, and if if people want to believe it and they believe that it's helped them, who am I to turn around and say, nah, don't believe me, he's a load of rubbish and that.
Well, Ezra says, I've read books on mediums and the afterlife, and what Jamie just said about seeing past relatives when you die. I wouldn't. I'd hate to see anyone, who's passed on. My family.
I'm the opposite.
I'd hate that. Frighten me. I'm a coward.
I think
Look, there's Jamie's thing there, look. That's his channel on
that's
there.
the link. Yeah. Just go in, if you want to go into the YouTube, just put in Access Paranormal Podcast or Access Paranormal Radio, and it'll take you straight to
Well,
them.
what about if they just put your name in? Jamie Williams, podcaster.
Well, you can put that. I've never tried that myself, Frank. I always put me. I'm subscribed to me. I do it anyway,
See,
don't I? So
if they put that in, it'll come up.
possibly, yeah. If you put in that Jamie Williams podcast, try it. Yeah.
What do you think of me background?
Needs tidying. Me. I know other people have said it looks creepy and that. I'd love to go to somewhere like that and do a ghost hunt. It's just amazing.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
It
so
reminds
walking
me.
down these stairs.
Yeah. To be honest with you,
Or
Frank,
walking up them.
when I seen it, it reminded me of Walton Hall, which sadly is just recently burnt down. But that's what it reminded me of.
Wilson,
Yeah.
don't get me on about that. Please. The King. Hiya, Frank and Jamie and chat. I lost my dad last year. Would give anything to know if we'll meet again somewhere and is looking over us happily.
I
Can you answer that?
believe. Yeah, I believe 100% we meet them again. I 100% believe that. Because we're not here just to, my mum and dad have passed away, and I don't believe that we only see them for that small amount of time in our lifetime. I believe that we move on and we bump into them again. Because what is our reason for being here if that doesn't happen? They give birth to us.
What's the purpose in life?
Yeah. And if you think about it, they knew us inside and out. We knew them inside and out. There's a connection. Our hearts are connected. Our souls are connected. DNA is connected. And they say about DNA is there for life. And I honestly believe when we leave this earth, we meet up again. And nothing can convince me otherwise. I do believe that. So the King there, I'd give anything to meet them again. And I feel comfortable that, yeah, they've gone, but I honestly believe that we will meet up again. I'm happy that, and I do believe that they do look over us. Sometimes you
Do
get
you think
a
they
smell.
guide you? They must do if they look over you. They must sort of guide you into the light.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
the,
like a spirit guide.
the right path.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, Frank, they've guided you through all your life from the day you were born to the day they passed. They've guided you. They've given you the life skills that you've got. I know school helps as well, but if you think of your parents, we had to, when we were babies, we had to trust them with our lives because they were the ones who fed us, changed our nappies, and gave us the life. Their seeds gave us who we are life. Yeah.
It's powerful stuff what you're coming out with because, myself personally, but this is just me. Like anything that frightened me. But you seen it when we was in that building. I said, I'm going because that frightened me because I knew that there was someone about rather than the small group of people. You could feel it. It was eerie.
I remember
everything.
that.
And I couldn't go into places like that. I'm being honest, I just couldn't go into places like that. And like what you do, I mentioned, the things that have really frightened you, and you even went back in, you've left your phone and said, I've only come in
Yeah.
for my phone.
Yeah. Well,
So that must have been very scary for you,
it was because
obviously.
it's a natural thing, though, Frank, isn't it? Well, as soon as we go into the dark, our senses kick off because we don't know what's there. Somebody could jump out on you, an animal could jump out on you. Anything can happen. But I believe that if something's trying to make contact with us, we're trying to make contact with them, but asking to call out, asking them to tap, or asking them to do what they can possibly do to make contact with us. Now, if we get something like a voice, I mean, I've had EVPs with voices, and I've had "Hello, Jamie," as clear as anything. And I always think if they're saying hello to me, they're not there to frighten us. They're there because they want to make contact with us. That we've crossed over to our dimensions, as we were talking about earlier on, of like a radio wave. We cross over sometimes. We get taxis on radios and things like that. I think sometimes the dimensions cross, and it's perfectly timed that they hear us and we can hear them, and they say hello, Jamie. Now they may be thinking, say hello to Jamie, and we might not hear them, and we're trying to contact them, but we can't hear them. They might be doing the same thing. They might be hearing us and trying the best to contact us. I don't get frightened as much as I used to. I used to get a bit nervous because we all get nervous when we're on our own in a dark alley and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I say to something, can you move that glass or something, and the glass moves, that's not because they want to frighten us. It's because we've asked them to do it. So they've said, if that works, then
What
they
about
want to make contact with us.
that?
They're not there
Can
to
I
scare
just
us.
read out what Bella says here? She says, Ciao Franco and Jamie in chat. Jamie, I have had a few experiences and see things.
So so Belly, you're like a sensitive, a kind of person who can sense it and see things. I mean, I think we can all see things, but if you're not into it, you don't see it. Do you understand what I mean? And I believe Bella, that we've all seen things, but we don't know that. Have you ever seen it where you see someone, you think, oh, where did that person go all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could have been
Like a
someone.
deja vu as well.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I believe. I believe everybody's seen something, but they don't know. How many
Do you
times have you...
believe in, as it says, about three dimensions, a past, a present and a future? Do you believe, like, you're walking down a street, busy street and whatever, you're in the middle of town, that there are people, like, who are not supposed to be there, if you know what I mean?
Yes, I do, yeah. I certainly do. Well, you've heard of the time slips, haven't you? There's been time slips. There's one in Liverpool, in Bold Street, the time slip where people...
Yeah.
They walk into a bookshop, they come out and they're in a different dimension. They've gone into the past. I don't believe you can go into the future because the future hasn't happened yet. Whereas the past has. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
The future is a minute fraction. When we're talking now, by the time I finish this, it's history, it's been the past. But it's not in the future because it's do you understand what I mean? It's gone. So my impression is you can't go into the future, but you can go into the past. We were talking about light before. If you think about lights from the stars, they can be 500 million, 600 million years old. And he was saying if you could see into that light from that time, you'd see time from the past. The light from Earth, if this light from Earth is going 500 million years behind us, you'd be able to see the past, you'd be able to watch it. And now, if you think we can look into the past, everyone can look into the past. Because we've got YouTube, we've got television with videos. We're looking into the past. with technology. That's the past, what we're looking at.
Do you, I was going to only have you on for an hour because I wanted to do another issue, but I'll do that tomorrow night. Are you willing to stay with me?
Yeah, if everybody else is happy for to stay, yeah.
See, the way I look at it too is this. It's only what you said about, when I mentioned about going into town and seeing people and who are not supposed to be there, if you know what I mean. And they're spirits. They are spirits. And I can't explain myself. I really can't properly. Can you explain it? I just can't, because I'm not into that sort of paranormal thing.
Do you mean by seeing people who are like ghosts?
Yeah, or Jamie, as you mentioned about Bold Street and, going into like the past, do you think that you could go into the future as well?
I don't think you can go into the future because the future hasn't happened.
But
we make the future.
What I believe in is a past, a present, and a future. You see what I mean?
There
the
is
dimensions, different dimensions, because you look at Earth, and Earth, if you look at it properly, and the outside of it, and you see all these different things, lines and these neutrons and whatever, all circling the Earth. And it's fascinating. It really is fascinating. And it reminds me of UFOs, because I always remember the very first two pilots to cross in a biplane, the Atlantic, and they were two British pilots called Alcock and Brown.
Right.
And, they crossed the Atlantic, came back, everyone was made up and congratulating them. They were very brave men, especially in those type of planes, to cross the Atlantic through winds and storms and things.
I'll tell you something in a minute, Frank.
So I forget who asked them. These not explorers, but people who were studying the North Pole. So they went in, and they said, "Yeah, we'll do it for you. We'll cross it." And they're supposed to be pinpointing things, because they gave them, I'm not saying a map or anything, but can you cross this particular part of it? So they said yes. So as they went over, Jamie, the last radio message they sent was, "We can't believe this. There's a big black hole in the ground." And they were, I'm not saying they were being sucked into it or whatever, but they descended to go into this black hole. And what they seen was rivers, trees, sunshine, everything. No snow, no ice, no nothing. And that's what they seen, and that was the very last message of Alcock and Brown.
Right.
See, so...
Yeah. But that,
as I
but
said,
what they
about different dimensions.
I
I'm not really getting off the paranormal, but that is paranormal to me.
Oh, definitely,
As
because
you
it's
mentioned
unexplained.
about going, in Bold Street, like going back in time.
Have
you heard of anyone? I know I have. Have you heard of anyone doing that, by the way?
What, going through the
going back in time?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something in a second, Frank. Alcock and Brown, right?
Yeah.
Alcock himself, I used to look after his daughter when I was living down south, and it was strange because she went over to, I think, was it Ireland, because he put a statue up or something for Alcock and Brown, and she had on her wall, I remember it to this day, the certificate or whatever it was in a nice velvet frame, the actual certificate that he received for being the first people to cross. And I actually seen it with the signatures on it and everything.
Wow. What a
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah, and that was that. I lived in Dorking in Surrey then, and a place called Westcott, and she had it. Was it Dorking? Let me just think.
Wow.
No, sorry, I was in Dorking, and she had it on a wall when you opened the front door on the right hand side, because I was looking at it, and it was his daughter, and she had his official certificate, what they received when he was it the Atlantic they flew across. She had the actual certificate there.
That's incredible, that.
Yeah, and it's only because you mentioned it then that I remember it so well. And she was a
Wow.
lovely lady. Yeah, Mrs.
See,
Alcock, that's all I know.
Why
yeah.
I mentioned it
Right.
is because not many people have heard of Alcock and Brown.
Mm.
Honestly,
yeah,
not
yeah.
not many people, because
Yeah.
it's never splashed about or anything like that.
No.
That's
And I still
fantastic.
rem- yeah,
Thanks
I remember
for
it on the
letting
wall.
me know that little piece of
Yeah. As you
that's
opened the
not a
door,
little piece of information. It's
No, I
very
think
important.
I'd
To
love
me,
know
it
where
is anyway.
Yeah. I mean, sadly,
Fantastic.
that must be 20 odd years ago now. So sadly, she would have passed as well. So wonder where that went. Probably to a member of the family. You asked me something before I mentioned that, Frank, about Bold Street. You know what happened in Bold Street. Now, the house I used to live in, as you know, you've been there in Highton. When I was living there, they were getting the flats built at the back of us. I lived in a place called Highton Quarry, and they were having these flats built at the back of us, or they call them townhouses now, don't they? And this night, I used to help out of a weekend. You know, I used to stay there at the weekend and look after it, making sure nobody broke in and things like that. Because I only lived 50 yards from it. And this night, I was in bed upstairs. I wasn't in the building. There was another lad. I remember his name as well. Strangely enough, his name was Sean. And we used to do turn to piece at weekends, you know, to stay overnight and keep an eye on it and get paid. And this night, I could hear banging and hammering and God knows what else. And I looked out the window because the bed was right next to the window. So I looked out the window and I thought, they're getting broken into. They're actually getting broken into. And I bet you if you went back to the police now, they still have it on record. I rang the police and told them the place was being broken into. And in no time at all, the police were there. I could see all the big lights. I could see they actually took the dogs in as well. And I thought, it's okay, everything's all right now. Because I could see the fellas, I could see sparks and everything else. And I thought, oh, Sean's okay now. The police are there. It's gone quiet. So the next day, as soon as I got up, I went down to make sure he was all right. And I said, Sean, are you all right? I said, you know, what happened last night? And he said, what do you mean, what happened? I said, there was like 5 or 6 fellas in the building. I'm sure that you were getting broken into. I could see them doing this. He said, Jamie, he said, I was asleep all night. Nothing's happened. And I said, there was. I said, I could see it. I called the police. He said, you called the police? I said, yeah. I said, I could see it all happening. And he went, well, he went round. He said it was raining. He said he went round all the building and everything. And he couldn't find anything wrong. And he said, I had to open the double gates. He said, you know, the big gates to let them in. And he said, honest, Jamie, nothing's happened. I said, yeah, they were at that container. When we went to the container, there was nothing wrong with the container. And when he opened the container, everything was still there. I looked back at it and I thought, I'm 100% certain what I saw. So I spoke to somebody I knew who was into the paranormal, and I turned around and said, I don't get it. I said, I could see it all happening. And he went, that's like a time slip. Have a look at what was there before all that was being built. And when I looked back, it was Tushingham's Brickworks. And what they reckon I saw was them doing all the bricks, you know, making the bricks and that. And then the fella who the building site belonged to, who was building them all, he actually found templates where they were making the bricks, you know, where they were building the bricks and everything. He found templates of the bricks when he was digging up the ground and everything. And I still can't get over that, because that was like a time slip, my personal time slip. I'll never forget it, because I knew what I saw. I wouldn't have called the police out otherwise. And I know the police will have that on record because they gave me a criminal record number, a crime record number.
Well, what you think of these poltergeists? Have you come
Poltergeist
across
is
any of them?
no. I mean, I've
Oh.
been doing this 16, 17 years, and I've
Go for
never.
that.
No, I know people who have come across them. And poltergeist in German is a naughty ghost. That's where the word poltergeist comes in. And what it is that it's like things that throw things or move things around, or it's just there. And if you throw a stone to them, they'll throw one back. I've never come across that yet. I've never come across one, but I believe they are out there, but I've never ever come across one yet.
Wow.
I'd love to just to experience it.
Well, when I mentioned about that big banging in that building we were in, and when I said, you were very polite and saying, rather than us being frightened, that was something don't worry about it, that's nothing. I really thought, when I thought about it, I'm talking a long time later, afterwards, after I went home weeks.
After you ran.
And I thought that that would have been, when I said you were being polite and trying to calm us all, that was a poltergeist.
No, that was...
they do make noise, don't they?
Oh yeah, poltergeist,
Apparently.
yeah. Well, that's why they're called a naughty ghost, because they do things and that. But I think it's very few and far between when that happens. I seen one with a person on TV who had a garage, and they actually filmed it, and it was showing you them throwing something, and something was coming back, and they got used to it. They weren't bothered. Then they said, this is what happens," and he was showing you. So I do think it happens, but I don't think it happens as often as you do. As it makes out. I think what it is it's like the news, isn't it? If it happens, it's on the news. If it doesn't happen, it's not on the news. So I think when you get it, it's there to watch. If you go on YouTube, there's loads of poltergeist videos. I'm sorry, I'm just reading that in front of you.
What people see, what they hear. Do you think more people hear things rather than see things?
I think it depends, Frank. I find to hear more of a night time when I'm in an investigation, because people say to me, "Why do you do ghost hunts at night?" And I said, "Because..."
Yeah, I was going to ask you that myself. Go on, I'm sorry.
Well, if you think in the daytime and you've got the lights on and that, there's things that can distract you. Like I've got a disc in front of me and I'm looking at that. And I think of a night time when you can't see nothing, you can't be distracted by anything. So then your senses come in, like your ears come into its own, because you can't see anything, you're automatically listening out. And I think that's the best way of doing an investigation. Yeah, I've done them in the daytime, but you're quite distracted. Like if I'd done it in like the image behind you now with the painting on the wall and things like that, if I was doing a ghost hunting there now, I'd be looking at the painting. I'd be distracted by looking at the painting and the two paintings on the wall behind you. So that's But if it was pitch black, even though we had a torch, if it was pitch black, that painting wouldn't distract me. I'd be waiting for the night time. So when it goes dark, I can concentrate more on sound. I can concentrate more on what's going on. Movements. You do get movement in the dark, and I'd be concentrating on that. I think you can investigate in the daytime, and like we said before, with people in the streets and walking around, you don't know. You probably walk past the spirit. When you look at someone and you think, where did they go? They just completely vanished. They may have completely vanished. He might have just been there for that fraction of a time and gone.
Well, Toscana says, my son went to see a medium last year before COVID. Spirits came through, and because of their foreign names, the medium couldn't have guessed. His paternal granddad came through and told my son not to start his, I don't know, it ran out.
It could be not to start this.
Whatever it was.
It might
because
be
he's Italian, you see.
It might be not to start this, because he might be sensing things, and that's why he went to the medium. Once you get to a medium and they tell you things that are quite convincing, then you're into it. Then you want more and you want more.
So
Well,
they
yeah,
are not to start as pilot training, and there was going to
there
be
you
a
go, yeah.
major event. He also mentioned an ulcer on my mum's leg and lots of other info.
Okay. And when you're talking to the medium, do you nod yes, or do you, because some mediums, there's cold readers, cold call readers as well, where they watch your body language, they watch your yes, and things like that, and they'll say things,
So they're
think
looking
of,
for signs, are they, do you reckon?
yeah, and then the best one is, there's a lady here with grey. I think we've got your grandma coming through. Did your grandma have grey hair? And if you're in the moment, you go, yeah. And did she lean forward? Did she have like a bit of a hunch? How many elderly people walk like that? Hundreds. And I'm not discrediting all mediums, because mediums are good. And I'm hoping that this lad's
But can
took
you
heed of it.
explain my grandmother and my Uncle Jerry? As
Can
I
I
said,
in what way?
she was sick in bed, she was ill. And, no one had told it, nobody.
Mm.
And yes, she said, oh, hello, Jerry, he appeared.
I think that's a connection, a family connection. Like we were saying about DNA and that. You've heard the story of twins, where twins can sense things. I'm a twin,
Oh, yeah.
and you can sense things. Now, my brother, he takes fits. And I can tell you, when I was younger, I knew when he was taking fits, and I wasn't even in the same room or even in the same area as him. It was like that was the connection. And I think it's not just twins. I think everybody can do that. Your daughter. I bet you sense things sometimes about your daughter,
Oh, yeah.
and then she go, "Oh my God!" Well, there's the connection. Do you get what I mean? That's that connection you've got with them.
That's,
Yeah. Frank, when they come in the house and they're upset and they're hiding it from you. We all know when something's wrong, and that's that connection. And I think that connection doesn't matter where they are in the world. How many times have you thought about someone and then they rang you and you've not heard from them for years? And you're sitting there and you think, God, you haven't heard from so-and-so for a number of years. And then all of a sudden you get a phone call or a text or an email off them and you go, oh my God, I've just been thinking about them. There's a lot more out there that we won't understand. I don't think we'll ever understand it from this plane. Maybe we'll understand it when we move on to the next plane. But I still think we're connected. And I think if your Uncle Peter and was it your grandmother, did you say?
sorry?
Was it your grandmother you were talking about? Or,
Yeah,
and your uncle?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she said she knew about my Uncle Jerry being dead.
Yeah.
Because he
there's
came to her and told
Yeah.
her.
I believe that. I've heard that so many times, Frank, where people have come to them. And I think sometimes they don't come to some people because they're not open to it or they don't want it to happen. I think even when you pass over, they still have feelings and they know your feelings. If you turn around, Frank, I know that you wouldn't like to see someone. So I think they stay away, but you'll go to someone who does. And then they'll convince it to you. When I was a kid, I hope you don't mind me, I hope the listeners don't mind me. It's the only way I can explain things. When I was a kid, in my mum's house, where I lived when I was a kid, anyway, when I grew up there. And I found one night my bed unmessed, and when you're kids, you think, oh, my bed's been messed up. And I just got into bed and I had a cob on, went to sleep. And when I woke up, there was a woman tucking my bed in, literally tucking my bed in. I could see her, I could feel the bed being tucked. I think that's what woke me up. And I still remember it to this day. And I turned round and I went, Mum. And when I looked at her, she smiled at me, walked away out the room and turned right. My mum's bedroom was on the right then, so being a kid, you get up, don't you? And you go into your mum's bed when you're
Yeah.
kids. And she put me back into bed again. She told me, tell me about it in the morning, like they do. The next
It's
morning,
just
yeah.
again, you know.
Well, the next morning, Frank, when I was downstairs, my mum was talking to me. Said, "Oh, tell me what happened last night." I described the woman, and I said she had a coat on, and she had like tartan around, like around the band, around her arm here, the sleeve. And I
Yeah,
said she
yeah.
had tartan down here and tartan where the buttons were. Don't ask me how I remember that, Frank. I really don't know. And I said she had like a scar here on her face. I described my mum's mum, um, exactly how she was buried with a tartan. She said the coat you described, she was wearing when she passed away, and that was her favourite coat, and she wore it when she went to the grave.
Wow.
She said she had a scar here, and I remember getting some photographs out, and she went, "Oh, have a look at them photographs." I said, "Oh, that's the lady there." It was 1960s. It was 1969 when she passed away. I was what, 6 years old, right? So I vaguely remember. I remember her giving us spangles when we were kids. It's funny how you remember things like that. And I went, "Oh, that's the lady there." And she went, "That's my mum." And she said to me then, "My mum said, if there's such thing as an afterlife, I'll come back and tell you." And she said, and I never wanted her to come back, but she's come back to you and given you evidence that there's life after that. So, that's when I started believing, and I thought, there's something in this.
Well, with the photographs you were mentioning, I've said this before. I don't know whether I've told you what happened to me in France, and I was totally lost, and I was going down this path for hours. Hedgerows and whatever. I was just going down. Not one car came by, not one soul. Now, you know how vast France is, and I'm going back to 69, yes, 79. And as I was walking down, I was panicking. I started to panic, and I started praying. I said, "Please God," because I didn't want to come into all of a sudden in the middle of France. I never had a clue where it was. And, the night descended, if you know what I mean. And I was just praying, saying, "Please God, help me." And then this fellow came around the corner. A very cheery fellow. Tubby sort of fellow. And he had a nice hat on, trilby, white. And he had a cravat on, very well, smart, these French fellas. Everything was bright on him. And he had this undeniable walking stick. And he was walking along very cheery. And I just stopped him. As I said, I was lost, and I said, "Parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous anglais, monsieur?" And he said, "Yeah," in perfect English. And I mentioned my problem I had. I was trying to get to Strasbourg, and I was only itching. And anyway, he said to me, "Well, just keep walking down there." He said, "And you just keep looking at the edge, and you'll see a break in the edge. Just go up there and go down and look over, and you'll see my home." He said, "There's only one home there." He said, "And just go down, they'll help you." Right? So I said, "Oh, thank you so much." What I do all the time to people who know me, I shake hands with them, right? So anyway, I was just so relieved to find out that I'm going to be helped. So as I walked on a bit further, I turned around to say, "Listen," and go up to him, shake his hand, say, "Thank you very much." But he'd gone. He'd just gone. And I thought, So I went down to the house, found the hedgerow, went down to the house to break in the hedgerow, and I pulled these, the bell. And I looked around and see the two big double doors, old doors, and this, I knew that it was the bell, and I rang it. And it took a while for the people to open it. And I went, oh, I thought they were out, but I seen a car in the drive. And a very old house, a very old like farmhouse it was, beautiful. And anyway, the lady opened it, 30 odd she was, and she said, excuse me? And I turned around and walked back. I said, I'm awfully sorry. And he explained about the gentleman. And she just looked at me. And she said, one moment, and closed the door. Left me standing there. I thought, fucking hell. So anyway, the door opened, and the young woman, she was in her 30s. She was around. And there was an older lady who turned out to be a mum. And she said, can you explain? So I explained. Now, the woman didn't speak English, so she was translating. And anyway, they were conflabbing in French. And I turned, I was standing more or less just inside the hallway. They brought me in to explain. And as I turned, I seen a thing where you put walking sticks and umbrellas and things.
Like a stand?
Yeah, stand. And I looked, and I seen this distinctive walking stick. And why it was so distinctive, it had an antlers, a deer's head with antlers, and it was all silver. And it was big, it was quite big, Why am I doing that? That did the antlers. So anyway, Jamie, the old lady had something behind her back. And she said, well, it was the daughter who said, she said, can you describe him again, please? So I described him. And she pulled out this framed photograph of the family. And this gentleman was like that, with the antlers head on the, he's leaning on his walking stick, like that. Family photograph. He was sitting in the middle, and his wife. And she said, can you pick him out there? I said, that's him. That's who I met. I said, honestly, I'm sorry, he told me to come here. Because I tell you how I was dressed. I had like what we call bomber jackets, short leather thing. I had a pair of jeans on and a pair of boots, where you stuck your jeans down your boots. So I looked at her, and I had long black hair and a beard, big black beard. So it didn't look, but anyway. And he'd been dead 10 years.
Wow.
He went out every day at that time for a walk.
How did they feel when you
Just shocked.
Huh?
Just shocked. And the girl gave me, because I had to find this motorway. I had to find it, and I was a couple of hours still away from it. And when I got to the motorway where I needed to go and get into this place, it was just going dark. So the lady gave me a lift, this French girl.
Yeah. That was lucky, that. And it proves that spirits can be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's interacted with. I mean, that's a great interaction between you. So, I mean, obviously you believe in ghosts. You believe that there are ghosts.
Well, I think I have to because of that incident.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to. I didn't want to see another one again in my life. But that's why I said to you before, when you're in town or going about or whatever, are the people there who shouldn't be there?
Oh, I believe there is. Paradise Street, you know Paradise. Well, you know everywhere, Frank. But Paradise Street in Liverpool, when Radio Merseyside and that used to be there, and he decided to knock that down, didn't he, and
Yes.
rebuild it all. I had to go to a meeting, and I had to cut through Paradise Street and up, but they put like a wooden wall across, if you get what I mean, that you couldn't go through because obviously they were doing the building. And as I was walking through it, I was thinking to myself, am I going to get through here? Because I don't know where I am. I couldn't understand where I was. And anyway, there was a girl and she was walking in front of me. So I followed her. Sounds a bit creepy, but I was following. I thought, she knows where she's going. I'll follow her, And she completely disappeared in front of me. Now, I thought to myself, I must have been distracted and I don't know where she's gone. I don't understand where she's gone. She's mingled somewhere. I sod it. So I carried on walking, and this fella come up to me, and he said, "Hey, mate." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Were you following that girl then?" I said, "Well, yeah, because I thought she knew where she was going, so I was following her because I thought she knew the route." She went, "Oh, no, I'm not being funny." He went, "But did you see her disappear?" And I said, "Well, I don't know where she went." And he went, "No, she vanished in front of you." He said, "I saw it with my own eyes. She completely vanished in front of you." And I said, "Well, what was she wearing?" I said, "Just make sure it's the same person." He said, "She had like a little case with her. And she had like a black top on and like a skirt on." I said, "That's the one, yeah?" He said, "No." He said, "I was watching you." And he was thinking, "Oh," and he said, "I wasn't watching you thinking that you were following a Jenny." He said, "I could tell that you were lost because you were looking round." And he said, "And she completely vanished in front of you." And I said, "Well, I don't get it, But when I spoke to my mate again, he turned round and said, because they're doing a load of building work on Paradise Street, it's probably because you've heard it before where if you make a change to a building and things like that, things can happen, spirits happen then. Don't know why, I don't understand why that part. And he said, she just vanished, and I went, "Oh, right, okay then," like that. And in my head I was thinking, "Oh, she just disappeared." And that. But the more I thought about it, I was thinking, yeah, because I didn't take my eyes off it, even though I thought I'd looked to the left and I was looking at the shops.
Yeah, but that other fellow was a witness though, wasn't he?
He saw it, yeah. And that's what made me think more is, two of us saw that.
But do you think that was a past thing, if you know what I mean? Or
Yes.
could she have just gone into that sort of wormhole, if you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's the stone tape theory. Now, the stone tape theory is it happens again and again and again, like a video recorder. It repeats itself. The history repeats itself. And I think it was that. She was just going to mind her own business. She didn't talk to anyone. She was just walking. And I just thought, oh, she knows where she's going. And I believe in that. I forgot the question you asked me then, Frank. Sorry.
No, I think that's...
I honestly believe that was a stone tape theory. And I think if you stayed there long enough, and I don't know how long, because it can happen at any time, it will happen again. It might have happened again. Some people have not noticed it. She's just walking and minding her own business. I honestly believe that things are repeated, like the Romans in York. They marched through that place. That's like a stone tape theory. It's recorded. Never noticed it. He didn't interact with the fella. He just kept marching.
Well, that's what I mean about, looking at things, like the Romans, for example, just walking past, because lots of people have seen them. And that's why I believe in other dimensions rather than just the one that we're living. That's what but that's just me. I just believe, I do believe in it, to be honest. And the Red Bird says, "Been ill, Frank, all good now, hope you're well, lad." "Oh, Red Bird, we mentioned you last night." I said, "Has anyone heard of Red Bird? Because we do worry, as you know." and I'm made up that you're okay. Honestly, Redbird. Honestly, you know that. And Stephen says, to tie with literature night, Conan Doyle was a member of the Ghost Club and Society of the Physical Research. I believe these groups are still active.
They are.
And even Paul
There
Fitz
are
says
groups like that still going from years ago.
that's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I still think the secret societies what do things for the paranormal. I know a fella called Steve Mara, and what he doesn't know about the paranormal is not worth talking about. He's phenomenal in what he does, and he'll test everything. He checks everything. He's very scientific in his ways.
But he's
and
like
he's
you
100
because you debunk things.
Yeah, but he's better. He goes. The scientific stuff he does, Frank, is incredible. He'll go about things, and he's. I don't think I've met anyone, I've crossed anybody like Steve Mara. He's into the UFOs and he's into theories, conspiracy theories. He tries to debunk things like that. He's brilliant.
Would he ever come on this show to talk about UFOs?
I'm still trying to get him on mine, Frank.
Oh,
But I'll ask him for you. There's not a problem asking him.
Do you know any ufologists? Been asking this fella, the nuisance he is, and he keeps saying yet, and saying, "Oh, I've got it." So don't bother, because people on here want to know about the paranormal and UFOs.
Well, there's someone who I know, Frank, Lynn from Wales.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember because she came to the Lomax with us, Lynn.
Yeah.
She's really into the UFO stuff. She's helped with a book on the UFOs. She doesn't talk to the fella anymore, but I'm sure she would love to come on and talk to you about ufology.
That'll do me.
She goes up in the hills and everything, taking photographs, filming them. She's 100% behind it all.
Because I really want to know about UFOs and crop circles, abductions, and
you got to speak to her.
People, from the likes of me and you, to policemen, to politicians, to billionaires, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've seen these things. Doctors, I've seen them in the sky.
Well, yeah, there's Area 21, Area 51, sorry. But yeah, I'll speak to Lynn and see if I can sort that for you, Frank. Redbeard there said there's lots of fakes out there. I'm 100% behind you on that one, there is. And sadly, that damages the genuine people, and that's the sad part of it. And I don't know whether you'd agree with me, but technology now with... you've got AI. I mean, I think AI is fantastic, but it can be used for the wrong things. And I think AI is used in the paranormal. Phones, you've got all these apps now. I've tried these apps. I tried one for a couple of years. I'm not convinced that's the way to go. The only good thing is I used was a mobile phone, and it was an experiment, and I like the experiment on that one. But I think there's too much equipment being used now, and not our natural senses. And there's loads of gadgets out there. There's hundreds and hundreds of gadgets. I don't believe in most of them, to be honest with you.
I don't myself, actually. You do get hoaxes. There's always been hoaxes of everything, even the paranormal, if you know what I mean. That's why I said to you about debunking things. You do get them, the fakes, but you do get, unfortunately, some people who really believe in something that they've either seen or heard or whatever, and they send for the likes of you, and you go down. But they're genuine. They're not like really fakers, if you know what I mean.
Oh no, I fully agree. There's genuine people out there, 100%. Sadly, it's the fakers that are causing the problem, because it's difficult now to believe who is real and who isn't real.
Yes.
And I mean, I've just read what Stevens just said there about mediums, maybe people whose penal gland remains intact. Yeah, I fully agree with that. I believe there's genuine mediums out there, but it's very hard to find them. And yet the Egyptians were phenomenal. But if you think about mediumship then, they didn't have the technology for now. I see mediums and they use like ghost boxes, they use spirit boxes and things like that. And it comes up and you go, shh, and you go, they've just said hello to me then. The radio waves, they're picking up radio sounds and they're making the story. If you go on, there's one called, we've been using it called the Spirit Talker, and I used it, and we turned the internet off. And it does come up with interesting things, and it comes up with things that you can't explain. But when you've got GPS and you've got Google that listens into everything you say, there could be something on the phone, whether you turn Wi-Fi off or not, that's still connected to you, that can tell you exactly where you are and where you're going and everything else. And I think that they're being used more now than your own personal feelings. And yet I do think there's genuine people out there who can talk to the people who've passed away. But sadly, there's so many out there that can't, that it's making it difficult for the genuine ones.
So you believe that the likes of the Egyptians
Very clever.
had this extrasensory perception, yeah.
Of course they did, yeah. If you think of now, when the Egyptians were around, the Egyptians had nothing like what we've got now. There's no television to distract them or give them power of suggestion. They only had their own senses, didn't they? There was nothing, you didn't have anything digital in those days. There was no such thing as television, cars or anything like that. They just had their own senses. And I think if we went back to then, now, we'd be the same. I think we can sense things, but because of the world now is a fast place, it's not as relaxed or as slow as it used to be, because we're getting lazy. Humans today, people today are getting lazier. You know, think about it. We watch the news on the television. We're sitting there. We're not going anywhere. We're just watching the news. We're watching movies. We're watching films, television, Love Island, God knows what else. We're now concentrating on all these things. We're not going out like we used to. Computer games. Kids are on computer games. How many people do you see walking along the street, headphones on, listening to music as they go along? They're looking at the floor. They're not looking up. And you're a historian, Frank. How much history are people missing out up there? Tons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like my little granddaughter when she comes down to see her granddad. She sits on the chair with a phone.
Yeah.
It's
Going to
the way, it's the norm, unfortunately.
100%. You go into a restaurant and you look around the restaurants and you see people all on the phones. We do it. I've done it myself. Many a time you do it because it's there. The technology is there in your hand.
And you know what thing? I don't take my phone with me. You know, I'm going shopping or I'm going up to the doctors or...
Yeah.
I'm never out of there lately, the doctors. So I never take.
Yeah. See, that's good because you're in that mood. But when football's on, as you know, Frank, I'm a big Liverpool fan. I take my phone and I'm watching the match on my phone if I'm out somewhere or I'm looking for results and things like that. That's the norm now. It's sad, but that is the norm. Technology has taken over our lives.
Of course it has.
Yeah.
What would we do without it, though?
Well, we wouldn't be doing this, would we?
No.
Yeah. So, but in some ways it's good, and in some ways it's very bad. It's
Yeah, of course it is.
You've got the trolls out there They use it the wrong way. Yeah.
Jamie, I had them last week or the week before, and they were vile to me.
Yeah.
They were vile, what they were saying.
Because they're hiding behind the keys.
Yes. Yeah. And, the people on the chat were saying, take no notice, the trolls and whatever.
Yeah, I ignored
Got rid of them in the end.
I
The
had
Scottish
abuse, I
Bear
just ignored
says, hit the like button for Frank and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Thanks, everyone. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And the Redbird says, me and the missus both being rough, caught some kind of a bug that floored us. All okay now. That's lovely, that. He was talking to the Scottish Bear. And Steve, a good friend of mine, Steve. I have often heard people who have lost a close member of the family and a few days later they have found a pure white feather. Is that a sign someone's watching over you?
I think so. It sounds stupid, and I've heard people going, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it hundreds and hundreds of times. I've got a white feather downstairs in my drawer. That happened in the house I'm in living in now. Came down in front of me just a few days after my sister-in-law passed away.
Oh.
And that feather. Whether it's true, I believe it because I want to believe it. And if you want to believe it, believe it. But that was comfort. That was telling me that someone's watching over me.
That is comfort, isn't it?
And
it's comfort.
Yeah. And how does a white feather appear in your house when you've got no pigeons, you've got no birds in the house, you've got no... There's no feathered animal. You might say, no, so you've got a quilt, but that's upstairs. How's it going to go through the ceiling? Do you get what I mean? It's. I can't explain it. And yeah, I think, Stephen, I believe a pure white feather is a sign. And that, everybody can believe what they want to believe, but I am 100% behind that white feather. I've seen it. I've heard so many people having them. There's got to be something in it.
Well, Paul Fitz says, I've had a lot of experience and knowledge of this topic. I sat in a physical mediumship circle for many... Go away. I'll try and get you on. You on, Paul.
Is that like the spiritual... Is that like the spiritual church?
I don't know. Sat in a physical mediumship circle for many years. It'd be great to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, I'd like to listen to his side of that as well.
And Bella says, Jamie, you're right. I believe that we told relatives again, as I have seen my father once after he had died. I was young. He asked me to take care of my mum. I was so scared I just ran out of my room.
You'll notice that, Bella. You'll notice that anybody who's young sees it more than anybody who's older, and the reason why I believe that is because when you're young, you don't have the worries of being an adult. You don't have the worries of paying bills. You don't have the worries of having to look after a house, a child if you've got a child, getting food in, everything like that, going to work, and your life is... That's it. Your life is concentrating on everything else. So when you're younger, I believe that your senses come into it better. And also, when you're going through the transition from a child to an adult, when you're going through that, I think that's when you're more sensitive as well.
Well, look at this, what Toscana says. And she's talking to Stephen Mulholland.
Mm-hmm.
After my dad passed, both myself and Mum had weird things happen. Stuff he used to do when alive, like switch the TV off when we walked out of the room.
Hmm?
Well, that's like you, isn't it? Things that you've experienced.
Yeah.
With these paranormal jaunts you do.
Yeah. Well, good examples, Mill Street Barracks. I have to go round when the groups have gone. I have to go round and make sure everywhere's, checked. And I'm on my own. I take my dog now, but I'm usually on my own. And I've got out the building and known that everything's been turned off. And when I turn around, there's a light switched on. I've gone back in, turned it off, come back out, and it's been switched on again. And I know it wasn't the ones on the timer. So in the end, I just think, you're just tormenting me now. I'm going home. It'll stay on. And that's what I do.
You actually say that to them?
Yeah. Whenever I leave the building, I always say goodbye to them. And when I'm entering the building, I always say hello, because it's their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, sensitive, yeah.
Well, as Paul Fitz says, sensitive is the correct word rather than medium. What do you think of that?
I fully agree, yeah. Because you're sensing it.
And I'm just going to go through a few comments here. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course it is.
And the bear says, high state of consciousness, highest state of awareness.
That's like
the lovely ambidextrous too, the Bella. Me too, a few times. So she's experienced things when someone has passed. That's mad, that. And the king says, I hope so. Thanks, Jamie. I believe we will see loved ones again. I have to. So he wants to see his dad.
We will do. I nothing can change my mind on that. I believe we will see them again.
And Toscana says, I was in my house by myself and no radio or TV on, and I heard my dad's voice in my head as clear as day, calling my name. My dad passed on my birthday as well. Wow, what a date.
Well, Toscana, I'd say about, what day is it today? Monday. I was asleep. And I was asleep and I was jolted to wake up, and I was just lying there again, just relaxing, and had my eyes closed, and I heard the word Jamie. It went Jamie like that, and I woke up quickly, thinking I was falling back to sleep. Within a couple of minutes, there was a phone call from Marie's daughter. Her daughter was choking on a piece of a dummy. So I shot round, to make sure everything was okay, and that showed her how to put the child on it back, because obviously she'd swallowed the piece then. She was absolutely fine when I got round there and that. But it was weird that I got that Jamie jolt in my head, and then gets the phone call from the lady, and I had to go round there straight away. So I believe that they can. There's your connection there again. Stay, Jamie.
That's fucking incredible, that.
I'm staying.
That's scary. Yeah. So you saved the child's life, really?
No, she did. She did. When I got round there, she'd done it. Yeah, I don't want any credit for that. She done that. And she said to me, Jamie, I had to ring somebody sensible, and I said, well, what did you ring me for? Like that. But I stayed with her for an hour, and the child was absolutely brilliant. She was laughing and, smiling again. But it just shows you that something... Sorry?
How old was she?
I'd say she's 3 now.
Jesus. And looked at her birds when
welcome.
I asked you, will you stay the extra hour? Stay, Jamie, this is very interesting, says the red bird. And Toscana, Jamie, this is a brilliant show, amazing. Oh, that's great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, that's the last time he's coming on.
I've stole you Frank's limelight.
I think it's great. No, I like good guests on, you know what I mean? Interesting guests, you know that. Well, I asked you ages ago, didn't I?
Yeah,
well, you went on holiday or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Anglesey. My brother lives in Anglesey.
Anglesey?
Yeah.
Is there any,
I went to Tunisia, yeah, and then I went to Anglesey.
Well, yeah, look, the Romans, when they got here, they hated the Druids because they did human sacrifice.
Mm.
And the Romans just cornered them right up into um, Anglesey and slaughtered them because they just said they're murderers. And I'm wondering if Anglesey's haunted.
Oh, Anglesey's very haunted. It really
There
is.
you go. Thank you.
I've done a few places in Anglesey.
Really?
With my brother living up there as well, I've got like a base that I can just go off and do ghost hunts. There's a woman called Bunty Austin. I'm hoping she's still with us, but I'm not sure. I think somebody told me she passed away, and she wrote 4 books on the ghosts of Anglesey, and they're my favourite books because she's so brilliant. Once you start reading her books, you feel as if you're in a movie with her. You know, you're there. The way she writes her books is you're there with her. And it was good because she started off with her and her husband, and sadly her husband passed away. But she continued this. It was like I felt like I was living her life in ghost hunts, searching for the spirits. If anybody wants to get them, they're on Amazon as well. Just type in Bunty Austin. Absolutely fabulous books, superb.
What about, I'll just read out a couple of more because I want to ask you about the Witches of Pendle. If you've ever, well, you'll have heard of them, but I mean, if you've ever
They're not
been
all.
up there.
Yeah.
Right, so Paul Fitz says there is a difference between what we call a ghost and seeing a spirit. Ghosts are people whilst of taking their transition have not gone to the light.
Paul, I hope you don't mind me disagreeing with that. I think spirits and ghosts are the same things. We've just given them titles. I think when we pass, we all pass exactly the same way. We all go to the same light. We all go to the same levels and things like that. There's so many titles for paranormal now. There's spirits, there's ghosts. I'm just trying to think, and there's the one in the religion, isn't there? The Holy Ghost. I think they're all the same. I don't think there's any difference in any of them. And poltergeist is something that's never been human. It's an energy. That's what they reckon poltergeist is. But I still think that spirits, it's like mediums. Mediums now, they call themselves mediums, they call themselves sensitives. And that's what, and I agree with the lady before, or the person before. We're all sensitives. I don't know where the word medium come from. I'll have to look that up. But we're all sensitives. We all get sensitive. In not just in the paranormal, we've all got sensitivity. And I believe
is that
that.
where the emotions come out? The emotions of, a death, if you like, when you start crying and...
Yeah, that's your sensitivity.
Is that being sensitive?
I think so. Yeah, of course it is. And one person said to me once, and I believe this as well, when a person passes, and it's the saddest thing you could ever come across, when you're crying, you're not crying for them because they're now at peace. You're crying for yourself because you're never going to see them again.
That's right, yeah. No,
and it's true. You're not crying because they've gone. They're now at peace. They're not in pain. They're not anything. We've now got the pain. We've got the sense. If you think about how sensitive we are, we've still got the pain. We've got the sadness that we're not going to see them anymore. So we've taken on that as well as everything else we've got. And I always think, we should be thinking, they're now at peace. And that's the most important thing, is they're at peace, they're not in pain anymore.
Yeah, I think
but
that's
naturally,
a cracking comment.
Well, naturally we do cry because, we're going to miss them, but it's like missing someone, isn't it? I mean, if you didn't see your Francine for a long time, if you didn't see your Francine for a long time, you miss her.
Oh,
you'd
of course.
feel that. You know, you really miss them. You miss them if you haven't seen them for a week. You're on the phone, where are you? Haven't seen you or anything like that. So if you think about it, Frank, when somebody passes, you can't pick up a phone
Phone
to
and
heaven
phone, no.
and say hiya.
You'll
So the
never
only
hear
way
the voice
people
again.
no. So what have people got today? That the only way they want to make contact with them is through a sensitive or a medium. That's
Well,
the only
Stephen
go-to they've
Mulholland's,
got.
here's
Yeah.
something for you. Now, I've seen photographs with these on. I've
Mhm.
always been fascinated by orbs in photographs. Are they spirits, Jamie?
No, no, 100% no. What orbs are in photographs are just bits of dust, and you see it more now in digital cameras because a digital camera can take a photograph so quickly that if there's dust there, it'll pick it up. It's your skin. Dust is your skin, isn't it? You know, you're shedding your skin all the time. And if you shut a door, if anybody wants to try it, you close a door in your room or walk through your room and turn around and take your photographs, and it'll be full of orbs, what people call orbs. An orb to me is a light that moves in a direction. If you look at orbs on a picture, it's just speckles everywhere.
Well, I think I know what Stephen Mulholland's talking about, because he worked with some certain person, and he was just taking a photograph here and there of, whatever. And all of a sudden, on a couple of them, there was this orb.
Was it
And
just
it wasn't
one?
a speckled thing. It was like that. It was a big thing. And he said, have a look at this. And I looked, and I went, whoa. And I had a look again at this particular, another photograph that he took, and this orb, same orb, well, don't know if it was the same or what. Now, this place where he was taking them was haunted, and I've been in there.
Mm.
I've been in there. I've been in. I was only doing. I was doing some filming actually, myself, and that's when he showed me. That's when he showed me. He said, "Hey, have a look at this, Frank."
I've got a book on orbs. How people perceive orbs as spirits, and it explains that if you think of a digital camera, something that can come right. You've seen it on. If you look at CCTV when it rains,
Yeah.
it's speckles.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and if you think of a digital camera, sometimes if a spider walks across it or walks across a camera, it can look like something out of space. It can look like something, and it's just a spider. If you look at the way a fly flies, it's does this, doesn't it? A fly, it just pops around. But when you take a photograph, it just looks like a white speck. And I mean, that people have brought pictures of me and said, "Look at this orb, Jamie. It's got a face in it." And yeah, you can see the face, but you can see a face in patterned wallpaper. You can see a face in curtains. It's called the power of suggestion. Your mind.
Yes.
It's not you making it. It's your brain filling in that gap.
Yeah, that's mad. That because
Yeah.
I had a picture. I gave it away, and it was a big picture. And it was a French scene, in a street taken in the 30s. And up in the corner, it's just a French scene, people eating and, people walking. It was cracking, but it was too big because of what I've got. And I gave it to he gave it to me next door neighbour, actually. Anyway, what I used to look at, up in the, like a building, building and a couple of clouds, was Marlon Brando.
They are.
If you know what
clouds. Yeah. If you look at clouds, you can
Marlon
make anything
Brando.
out of a cloud. Yeah.
And when I pointed it out to people, I said, look at that. Oh, yeah, Marlon Brando. But I always thought, I wonder if the artist deliberately put that in, if you know what I mean.
Well,
That's
when you've got
something extra.
Photoshop and AI now, you can do anything. I
Yeah.
went to Rainsford and I took a picture of the church because I love taking photographs. And when I took it home and opened and put it up on my computer, I actually realised that the cloud it looks like an angel, and it was like the pipe or whatever you want to call the whatever they call them in the mouth, flute or whatever, was like looking down at the church, and I went, "Oh my God, look at that! It's not weird," but it's just a cloud which you captured at the right moment. How many times have you seen a cloud what looks like the lava birds in the Echo? Loads. Yeah.
Well, from the space tank shuttle, they was taking pictures,
Mm.
and they were taking pictures of around, Canada and the North
Yeah.
Pole, and what you see a picture of was George Bernard's shot and his
There you go.
beard. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
It's straight.
Incredible.
You've seen it on toast. How many people have you shown pictures of Jesus Christ on a piece of toast?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
there. It's just the power of suggestion. It's your brain filling in the gap.
Do you know what? I
I noticed.
think I'll have some toast for me supper.
Sorry, Frank.
No, I think that's great. That.
Put some jam on it.
Very
Yeah. Then two people have mentioned the time slips there.
Yeah, Edward says it's the time slips in Liverpool.
Yeah,
That's what we were
Bold
talking
Street.
about before.
Yeah. There's a time slip in Bold Street. It's a famous one, Edward. If you want to look that one up, it's really good. Another person put something about a time slip and the aliens. I missed. I couldn't read it all then. And no, I don't think. I don't think there's such a. There is a future. We make the future, because how can the future be there if it's not been made yet? Do you understand what I mean? I think we live for now. I know that you can get the weather forecast, can't you? And you can tell you in the future what the weather forecast is, but that's scientific. You know, they can watch the cloud formations and go, "Yeah, we're going to get this, we're going to get that."
I say no notice of our weather forecast.
Exactly. Look at it today. But no, I think I believe in that. There's other life out there. There can't not be, because we can't be the only one. And I mean, how big is this universe? Nobody will ever know. It's eternal. But we can't be the only ones out there. We can't be. And I think they're living in the same time as us. I know the world is, if you go to America, you're 5 hours ahead or 9 hours ahead. If you're in Australia, you're an hour ahead if you go to Spain and things like that. But that's done. That's human. That's us who've made them times. Like we've made calendars. There was no such thing as calendars once, but it was just day and night. Animals don't look at calendars, do they? Humans are the only ones that look at calendars. Animals, nature-wise, go by either the four seasons or nighttime, day and night. That's it, exactly that. Like
That's
animals
why,
that come.
some animals hibernate.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's
Me,
winter.
I just want to go through a few here.
Yeah.
Lee Brady, been watching the Conjuring movies, going to
Love
watch
them.
the new one at the pictures at the weekend. Love haunted horror films. Francine went last weekend to watch the Conjuring, and I love to go to another ghost hunt in the old hospital at Newsham, where you can go on your own, because there's no way I'll go in there ever again.
I've done Newsham 4 times, and there is a group that runs Newsham who you can book on with them and that. It's great. You try Mill Street Barracks as well.
Oh, don't.
Take no notice of Frank.
I don't know what.
Do I
you
believe in NDEs? Yes.
That's Redbird.
Yeah.
I haven't a clue
Near-death
what that
experience, NDE. Yeah.
Oh,
NDE is near-death experience, Frank. You know when you die and you leave your body and you float up above yourself and you can see exactly what's going on. If you listen to people, surgeons in hospitals, it's happened so many times. You die, or you're near death anyway, and your soul or whatever you want to call it comes out of your body and it floats above. It's visited people, and your body's there. And there's one story where a person who came out the body, and while they were operating on him, he was watching everything, and he remembered where he put the clothes, like the boots and the this and this. And when he came back into the body and that, he actually told them exactly what they were doing, and told them where they put the shoes or where they put the clothes and who was in the room with them and everything. Yet, I completely believe in NDEs.
Lee Brazy. Lee, we've done loads of it, mate, and I'll just show you this, where he's done lots of paranormal activities, and that's his book there. His new book out.
The book there is all my experiences over 16 years. People said to me, your book should be bigger than that, and I said, well, paranormal activity doesn't happen all the time. It just doesn't happen all the time. I'm going to recommend the book because I wrote it, but if you read it, if you do buy it and you read it, thank you very much. I would appreciate it. And
we'll keep on advertising it.
Yeah, whoever buys it, I hope you enjoy it as much as I did writing it. But I always say, read them and enjoy them. I'm 100% telling you the truth in the book, but I will not say that. If you read the back of it, I do say it's down to you whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like UFOs, isn't it? You can either believe in them or disbelieve in them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Bella says, Franco and Jamie, I often find white feathers in my house and outside my back door, and I believe that his loved ones watching over us.
Yeah, keep believing.
So
I believe that myself.
And CW says, what a great pod, Frank and Jamie. That's nice.
Thanks, thank you. TW, that was my mum, Teresa Williams. Yeah.
And Stefan says, if I must haunt a place, won't be an old mansion, but the kitchen of a great restaurant in Italy.
Hey, that's a good one to have a conversation about. Where would you haunt if you were a ghost?
If I was a ghost myself.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd haunt, to be honest with you. It's got me thinking, that one now, Frank.
That's a good one, isn't it? Really, where would you? There's lots of places I'd like to go and haunt.
I'd go and watch Liverpool for free.
I'd love to go to two places in Europe, one in France and one in Italy, and that's the Duomo in Florence and the Palais de Versailles in Paris, just outside Paris.
I think I'd visit all the places I've not been to while I've been alive. I think because I've got that freedom, I'd just go and visit where I wanted to visit. Mainly me family, but I'd love to go and visit all these places and it'll cost me nothing as well.
Yeah.
That's the good thing.
And Toscana says, no, my son is sharp. He didn't give anything away. The medium spelt out his granddad's name. He was Polish, and she spelt out Joseph.
That's good.
Yeah.
See, I can't even make a comment on that because that sounds like it's a genuine person.
Yeah.
I can't say because I wasn't there, but I believe what the person's just put up then. That sounds good, and if it's helped your son, fantastic.
Well, Lee Brady, I don't know whether you've heard of this fella. Best medium I've ever seen in my house for a private reading was a guy called Jeff Powell, not Joe Powell, who was more known, but Jeff. He knew the names and specific things when I was a younger nobody. Nobody else knew. When I was younger, nobody else knew. He stepped away from readings to do reincarnation side of it, unfortunately. But he was the best.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Lee. I've never heard of Joe Powell. I've heard of Joe Power. He was the one what was on with I forgot his name now. A fantastic fella. He's Power of Deception. I can't think of his name. And he basically upset him, didn't he? Because he done a lot of stuff with him. Just have a look on YouTube for Joe Power. And what's that? I can't remember the name of it. He's a fantastic fella, this fella as well. I can't think of his name. Get me age now.
Like Dennis Cora, was it? What's his name?
Derek Cora. No. He's always.
I was in a play with him. Do you know that?
Derek Cora, yeah.
Yeah, Derek Cora.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who else. Pete Price.
Yeah. Radio
at
City.
the Empire.
Yeah.
We were there at the Three Ghosts.
The Three Ghosts?
We were Three Ghosts. How ironic is that? Or coincidental.
Yeah.
We were the Three Ghosts starting this fella.
I've met Derek Cora quite a few times. He actually came to Mill Street, would you believe?
Go away.
Yeah. I had a really nice time with him, sitting there chatting away to him.
What did he think of it?
He loved it. And he actually said to me, when we were talking, and he was leaving at the end of the night, and he actually said to me, Jamie, I'd love to work with you. He said, I'd love to come back and do some work with you. And sadly, he passed. So it never come to fruition, sadly.
And Stefan says, Toscana, my dad was Polish, because she says her dad was Polish.
Yeah.
And his name was Joseph. Same. Wow.
That's
small world.
Uh-huh.
I believe, says the Redbird. And Michael J. I'm sorry, I'm going to go right down here. You're a good writing lad like myself, Jamie. Tell Frank and the gang about the cottages by St. Michael's Church in Highton.
Ah, right, okay, Michael. That's the one. It's right next to the graveyard that's separate, isn't it, where the Highton Cross is. There's a cottage there, and allegedly there was a ghost of a girl who looked out the window. She used to always look out the window, and people used to go down there and stand and look at the window. So what they done is they painted the window black, and it's still black to this day. And that was that. If you go down there now, it's opposite the Highton Church. You know where Bluebell Lane is. If you cross over, there's the Highton Cross. Yeah, it's the Highton Cross. There's a cottage there which is the windows painted black. They are.
Lee Brady, why do I get the feeling with people crossing over and stuff? Is that it feels like us living are not allowed to know much about what happens when we die, like it's supposed to be a secret. You never get much info when people come through in readings or people who have died for 10 minutes and explain that they had seen, which isn't much, what they have seen, which isn't much. I don't know, maybe it's just me, says Lee Brady.
I think it'd be too much for us to take in. I get what he's saying there, but I think that would be too much for us to digest. Because there's something I believe in. I believe that on TV, when they put things in, let's give a prime example: Star Trek. When they had the beam me up Scotty, the little things that they flipped open and talked. Mobile phones became exactly the same. That's where mobile phones, the ideas come from. And I believe that they feed things into programs. Tomorrow's World was a great example as well.
Brilliant.
Getting us used to the technology, getting us used to it. And I think if we were overpowered by something we can't explain, like the spirits, like the other dimensions, I think it'd be too much for us to take. How many people can sit here and think about space? Where does space end? It doesn't. You can't. Your mind can't go far enough to imagine what's. You think of space. It's eternal. There's no end to it, and you Your mind can't take that. You can't comprehend it. And I think that's the same with the spiritual world. I think we're built for this world, and we're learning. When we're born, we don't know nothing. We haven't got a clue about anything except what we've learned inside the womb. When we come out, we learn to open our eyes, we learn to move our fingers. We've started from scratch. And I think, we're learning every day. We're learning something. Every day we read something. And I think we only use a small section of our brain. We don't use all our brain.
No,
and I think if we used
very
all our
small
brain,
portion.
yeah. How many times have you heard people that use so much of the brain? The geniuses, the close, and they always say genius is close to madness. And
But
I
you know,
I,
when
bel
I was
I believe
12,
that. Hmm.
when I was honestly, when I was 12, I worked out, and it was on the telly, and I worked out a sum, an equation. I worked it out, and I could never work out anything like that. It just came to me then, and I
Yeah.
worked it out.
It's
Just
strange,
came.
isn't it?
And I said,
Well.
that's, whatever it was at the end. And I worked it out, and that was physics.
Yeah. And how many
Incredible.
people, Frank, how many people do you hear that have dreamt something and they've wrote a book or they've brought a film out because they dreamt it?
Do you know what? I do the history of literature, and we talk about certain things like that. The inspiration, where do you find inspiration from
Yeah.
to write something,
Inspiration's all around you.
of course.
The biggest inspiration is your planet. Because I say that about photography as well. I say the biggest canvas you've got is the planet. The planet is a work of art. Sadly, some of it's like graffiti, but the rest of it, there's so much beauty out there. The planet is a work of art if you look properly.
No, you're right. It is a work of art. I watch, certain things on YouTube, like the planet Earth. You see some documentaries where the drones and they're going over valleys, mountains, lakes, and I just say to myself, this is beautiful, and man is destroying it.
Yeah, we are. We're literally destroying. Well, the strange thing, Frank, is I've got a drone. What a drone. Everybody knows what a drone is now. And now you can buy virtual reality lenses that you put over your head. And when your drone goes up in the air, the drone's your eyes. You're looking from the drone. When it goes up in the air and you're looking down from the drone, what you're seeing. You turn the drone round and you're looking at yourself. How? Do you get what I mean? How can something that's not connected to you, that's 30 metres up in the air, look back at you and you're looking at it through your eyes with nothing between it?
I wish I'd have known you as a drone. I've been let down for 2 years. I wanted to do a certain thing about Liverpool,
Yeah.
but I needed a drone, if you know what I mean, to go. There was three certain places I wanted the drone to go over
Yeah.
in these areas, but on sunny days.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then I had people lined up to just a couple of minutes interview rather than talking, for ages.
Yeah.
Just a couple of minutes interview, and it was about not just about the history of Liverpool, but what it's like and what do we want for the future, and things like that. It was going to be my legacy, because I was just going to put it on YouTube. Got let down.
Yeah. Well, I've got a drone
Frank.
there anyway, Frank.
That is a wonderful story. What an experience, says Paul Fitz, and Redbird says the same. And that's about, must have been about France. Meeting that fellow. I'll just go straight down. I'm awfully sorry, people. I've got to finish. And Johan said that, evening Redbeard, glad you're feeling much better, legend. And Johan, the Simpsons cartoons have been caught multiple times pushing predictive programming from the 9/11 coincidental date today to the Apple Watch and Trump's presidency. That's
It's yeah.
that's
I've
right.
never watched the Simpsons cartoon ever. Never watched it, but I'm aware of this. You know, the predictions within the Simpsons. It's incredible. I've seen on YouTube where they put the Simpsons not side by side of what's happened. It's beyond the way you think. How
Yeah.
do you get what I mean?
Yep.
How can a cartoon know the future? How can the cartoon know what's going to happen?
See, we talk about visionaries as well on a Wednesday evening, yeah, and there's lots of visionaries out there, if you know what I mean. Shakespeare, for example, he was a great visionary. You go to the arts, and another great visionary was Leonardo da Vinci. Then you go further on, and you come to another unbelievable visionary, and that was the War of the Worlds fella, H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells, yeah.
And when you think about that and what he was writing, you know, you're talking 19th century literature.
Yeah.
He was talking about wars and planes and bombs. He was talking about these things coming out of the ground that have been for donkeys' years.
Yeah.
And they were from another planet.
It's incredible, isn't it? See, that's what
Thanks,
we
Frank,
were saying
Jamie,
before.
and Chat. And
Yeah,
Steve Steppen says, back to something related to time slips. How about the story of the Vatican chronovisor, Jamie?
I don't know that one, to be honest with you. I'll look. I'm being honest. I don't know about that one. I'll look that one up anyway.
The Redbird say, Frank, Jamie, top show, lads. Great chat as always. Thank you, Redbird.
Thank you.
And I'm
Thank
made
you.
up that you're better. And Redbird, just seen you being ill. Glad you're well, says Bella. Right, Jamie, you'll come on again, won't you?
Yeah, whenever you want me to, just give me a shout, Frank. Not a problem.
Brilliant.
But like I said, I'll have to come and see you, Frank, because I've not seen you for a while.
I'll be great if you. I can't
Yeah.
walk. You know that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Did you have? You had an I think Jason told me you had an operation or something.
Oh, yeah, I died, didn't I?
Ah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. So I'm speaking to the ghost here, and you're telling me.
Someone said to me, you know, did you see anything? Did you see a white light? Did you see a vision of Christ? I went, no. Just black.
Yeah.
He said, well, you
No,
mustn't have died then. I said, oh, okay then. I didn't.
Yeah.
And they're great. Edward says, Jamie, what's your channel again?
It's Access Paranormal Podcast, or and Access Paranormal Radio.
There you go. Access Paranormal Radio.
And Access Paranormal Podcast.
Podcast, sorry.
There's two channels. I'm just starting the podcasts again now. I had a break from it for a while because a lot happened in my life in the last 12 months or so. So I had to have a break from that. And the radio one, we had a little bit of a break anyway, but we're back again now. I'm just starting to edit them to put on YouTube now.
You're all right though, aren't you now?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just we just had some bad news in the family and things like that, Frank. I'll tell you when I see you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Jamie, and as little ambidextrous says, great show again. Thank you, ambidextrous. She's a lovely girl.
Yeah.
And
I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Frank and Jamie, for a brilliant show. Have a good night, legends in the chat. Access Paranormal Radio and Podcast as a new subscriber in me.
Oh, thanks, Johan. I appreciate that. Thank you.
See? See how good he is?
So at least
See
I've
how
got
good
one
the show
subscriber.
is? Well, anyway, I've just got to thank my sponsors, who are wonderful people, for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show. And please get them in. Don't struggle trying to decorate. Please. Don't end up like me with a broken neck, honestly. Don't. Just get them in. If you're an NHS worker and you're an elderly person or couple, get them in and you get a special discount. And if you don't fit into the categories, please get them in, because they're very reasonable. Just get them in. They'll give you the price. And they're fully time served and they're fully insured, these lads. They're first class. Please, please get them in. And they're the sponsors of the Frank Carlyle podcasts. And Stefan says, Jamie, it was all but a dream within a dream. None of us exist, actually. You imagined tonight's show.
Stefan, try making me believe that when I bang my head, I feel it. Or when somebody kicks me. One of the kids kick me, or I get ended up with a nosebleed.
I know, and me before I had to bend down to pick something up, my back's gone.
Yeah.
And Toscana, what a great evening. Grazie, Franco and Jamie. I'll be checking out the podcast and book.
Thank you so much.
And Toscana says, hopefully you'll be coming back on, Jamie.
Whenever Frank wants me on, I'm always there.
There you go. See? And on that wonderful note, that he will come back. Would you come back in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, just let me know when, Frank, and I'll be ready.
Okay. It'll be a Thursday like tonight.
That's absolutely fine by me.
Because there's no football on a Thursday night. It's the only night that there's no football, as you know.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, Frank. If there's football on, you know me, I'm a Liverpool fan as well.
I know you are, yeah.
You can't miss it.
So a Thursday is a date then, eh?
Perfect. I'm absolutely fine with that.
Do me. That'll do me, mister. And I hope to see you soon anyway, you know, personally.
No, 100%, Frank. I've got to do it. And I'll come down with Jason. If Jason doesn't mind, he'll show me the way.
Yeah. You're driving, aren't you?
Yeah, people mad usually, but yeah, I drive.
I can send you me
yeah, you've got my phone number.
Postcode.
Yeah, do that
Can't
then.
miss it.
Yeah, don't you want Jason then?
No. Jason can't get out. God blimey. I'll never see him myself.
I forgot what he's looked like.
And Johan says, Jamie, last question. Does your dog pick up Bruce the dog spirits when you take him to the barracks?
Johan, I take my dog to the barracks whenever there's a group in, and it's a cockapoo. And if you know what a cockapoo is like, it doesn't have time to concentrate on anything else. It's either pooing, robbing something, running around, and I'm trying to chase it. So the answer to that one at the moment is no. I think when she calms down, I'm hoping she will. But she's there to keep me company because I lock up on my own over night time. And if you've never been to Mill Street Barracks, you won't understand why I take the dog with me.
I'm going to show you a photograph. Me and Kenny.
Kenny Dalglish, yeah.
Me
it's in colour.
What?
It's in colour.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you can get him on his YouTube channel because he won't be coming on here again. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
You will, Frank, and thank you so much for having me on tonight. I've really enjoyed it.
Been trying to get you on for yonks.
You only have to ring me.
No, no, hang on. Jason has to do all that.
Oh, the secretary, Jason.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm not important enough for you to just ring me direct.
Well, he just says, he's either busy or whatever. But I will ring you on. That's okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Frank and Jamie, says TW. Franco and Jamie Grazzi, says Bella Italia. And Paul Fitz. Thank you, Frank and Jamie. Wonderful evening. And on that wonderful note, I'll just say to the people who are... I'll see you tomorrow night on the current issues. Be talking about everything. And I mean everything. Because you're getting these dopey Americans wanting more regime changes. Not just in Venezuela now or Georgia. Or they've done it in Nepal, of all places. It's absolutely disgusting. So we'll be discussing all that. We'll be discussing all that tomorrow night. And the death of that lad who, I've got to say it, he was a white supremacist. That's what he was. But anyway, besides that, I'll see some of you tomorrow night. Thank you for joining me, because without you, there'd be no podcasts. Thank you so much. Good night, Jamie.
Good night, Frank. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.